Hi, grade 11s. I just wanted to go over finding the standard deviation again without using the calculator. So I've given you a little slightly more condensed version of the formula. And so we've got standard deviation, or sigma, small case sigma here, is equal to the square root of capital sigma, or the sum of the data point from our set minus mean squared, all divided by the number of entries. So what does this actually mean? This means the first thing we're going to have to do is find the mean from a set of data. Then we're going to do each data point minus the mean, square it, add them all together, and divide by how many we have. And that's going to give us this thing called standard deviation. One of the things that you really want to note is, first thing is, when we use our calculators, and what we've talked about so far, we've used x bar for our mean, and in this equation, and whenever we're dealing with populations usually, you'll see the symbol mu, which is sort of like a U with some tails, and that's going to basically represent our mean in with this equation. Alright, so the first thing we need to do to solve the standard deviation question is actually figure out what the mean is. So we take our data set. So here's just a small little data set. The numbers are 9, 2, 5, 4, and 8. And the first thing I want to do to find the mean is to sum the data and divide by the number of entries. So 9 plus 2 plus 5 plus 4 plus 8 divided by 5. So we end up with 28 over 5, and therefore the mean is equal to 56. 5.6, sorry. You may want to check my numbers. I did that in my head as well. So 5.6 is what we're going to use. That's our mean. And from there, what we end up doing is taking each one of these data points, 2, 9, 2, 5, 4, 8, and subtracting them from our newly found mean. So 9 subtract 5.6 plus, because we're sigma, this is telling us to add them all up. We're going to square it, and then 2 subtract 5.6, square it, plus 5 subtract 5.6, square it, and so on and so forth. When we get all this done, we'll divide by 5 and then finally find the square root. So each one of these, the answer here is 11.56 and 12.96 and 0.36 and 2.56 and 8.76. And then we add them all up. So we end up with the standard deviation is equal to the square root of 33.2 over 5. Or the square root of 6.64. This 6.64 is a number that has a name. This is called the variance. But for our purposes, we're really after the standard deviation in this course. So I find the square root of that, and I find that the standard deviation of this set of numbers is 2.58. There are further notes going to be attached to both my website and to the Google Classroom. As well, you have your homework, which is the questions are listed, as well as the page numbers at the end of the notes. Have a good Halloween weekend, and we'll see you on Monday.